So it is very important that when you look at a product, so typically we get a lot of ideas, right? But when you look at the problem from or when you look at the idea from a startup perspective, then you'll have to understand how how is it placed, where is it placed in the entire spectrum of problem solution universe, right? And I'm going to talk about what that universe looks like, and why does it make sense to look at the problems like that. Also, where else, like how do you find ideas, like how can you find uh, you know uh, different ideas for starting up. So we'll start from there, and then we'll look at what is the problem solution universe, what does that look like, and then how do we validate some of these ideas, like what is the typical process, and then uh, you know how does understanding problems give us an edge, right? So these are a few things that I'm going to talk about. Cool. So, yeah, very quickly, I work with MoveInSync. It is something like Uber, but only limited to office commute. So it's India's largest office commute platform. And as Bhakti mentioned, that I also part of Headstart. So I also sit on the board of Headstart Network Foundation. For last 7 years, I've been helping a lot of startups and incubators, and a lot of in establishing startup ecosystems in a lot of cities in India. And UV Times is my blog where I keep sharing my learnings and keep writing my rough notes with the world. So if you have interest in creating products, I'm sure you would definitely find it interesting. So uvtimes.blogspot.com is something that would interest you. So you can follow that. All right. So today we'll talk about finding ideas and validating ideas. Uh, Here are the rules. Participate 100% is the key. Uh, Keep your mobiles a little far from you so that you're not, unless you are attending from mobile phone, so that you can focus. And typically I keep this slide now. It's been about 2 years that we've gone virtual, but I keep this slide which I used to do actually during in person workshops, where I used to ask people to raise their hands and repeat these things after me, right? So it doesn't make any sense now to do that, but I still keep the slide so that so that it reminds me of what and so that I can talk to you about this. That these are so critical, so important beliefs that we should start with when you're talking about ideas and problems and so many of these things. These are the 2-3 things that I would strongly recommend that you tell yourself and understand the meaning of these things, which is that one, no one can steal my idea, right? So always be very, very, very fearless about sharing your ideas with anyone and everyone. um, Another one is that idea has no value, so there is no point in keeping the idea to yourself. No point in thinking that also no point in being very excited about having an idea. Like everyone has hundreds and thousands of ideas. Every smart person has them. So and if you do a little research, you will find that your idea is probably not unique. So everyone sort of thinks initially that their ideas are unique. Only when they become a part of the ecosystem is then they realize that, oh my god, like there are so many companies already doing work on that idea and already far ahead than where you are, right? So it is very critical for you to understand that ideas do not have a value. And another very strong belief is that most of the ideas, problems that we figure are, we are sort of the center of our universe. and yeah, that's natural, that nothing really so wrong with it. But please keep reminding to yourself this, that I am not the customer. So because I'm not the customer, I don't know what a customer would like or would be able to do. Never think that I am like the customer, so what I am liking customer will also like, or my problems are also similar to what customers will face, right? So these are very, very critical things that once you start believing, uh, will you be in the right mental state to acquire uh, you know better ideas that would lead to better outcomes for your product, for your startups. Cool. And to make the point effective, and I'm sure that the startups present today are none of these, but when I go to colleges, typically I would find that 80% of the startup ideas are around these themes. Either they're about e-commerce for art, or they are about event management for XYZ, or aggregator of whatever XYZ things, or around local tourism, or about virtual mandi, right, or something to do with agri, supply chain. So I mean, from the looks of it, and of course there are 20% ideas that we I can't really uh, find a pattern in, but typically these are the ideas that you get. So just to showcase how non-unique most of the ideas are, and still they win, right? Still most of the ideas win, because even though they are not unique, so it doesn't really you don't really need a unique idea. What you need is an idea which uh, which is around a real problem, and uh, the problem is large enough, right? So that is what we are uh, essentially looking for, right? So first section, how to find ideas, and then we'll focus on how to look at the ideas, and the how to look at problems that we are trying to solve. Cool. So obviously, this is one way of finding good ideas. Is to close your eyes and think about them, right? Which is the worst way. Essentially, this is what people kind of sort of have an idea to start with, that okay, like if I think more, I will get more ideas. That is wrong. You'll not get more ideas by thinking about them. You so if you'll not get ideas about by thinking about them, then what do you do? So essentially you have to think about or look for these things, right? What is it that troubles you? What is it that you hate doing? And of course people around you hate doing, right? So, and what is it that you fear, right? That okay, if this happens, if that happens, um, you know what is it that you can do? There is a lot of business that can be built on either something that troubles you, which is around something that is problematic. So anything that you gives people convenience, anything that gives people or solves their problems, real problems, frequent problems, you will get a lot of ideas around that. What do you hate doing? So a lot of convenience, luxury items stem from hate, that I know I need to do it, I need to do certain things, but I may not like doing them, right? And if that is you're solving for those kind of things, then also you can definitely find great businesses. What do you fear, right? Anything that you think is likely, or anything that you think you try to avoid, those kind of things make for great businesses, right? A lot of businesses, particularly for example healthcare and health tech, fintech, fintech also, in terms of like uh, future insurance tech, etc., etc., are all around fear, right? You will get insurance because you fear if something happens, something bad happens to something. So to my car, so I should get car insurance. Of course, it is also a legal requirement, but a lot of these kind of money and health related things are definitely related to fear, or fear of loss and all of that. So it is extremely critical that you look try to find what is the uncomfortable around you, what is that troubles people hate to do, or people fear doing or fear happening. Those are a few things that look at it from that angle, you will find some great ideas. Then there are, and this is amazing, right? And probably a lot of you might have come across these situations where you, during the gossip, during the coffee conversation, you would have probably said something, and then you figured that that yeah, there is some, it looked interesting, and then later you figured that, oh, the one day we were talking about such a thing, and today you figured that there is a big business out of that idea. Actually, that something already exists, or actually exists, and that may happen like a week later or 6 months later. And in which case you sort of realize that, oh boy, I mean, there was an opportunity I didn't realize, right? So there are a lot of such I wish moments, that oh, I wish there was a service like this, I wish there was a product like that. And if you pay close attention, these could really become great ideas for your product and for your startup. Right. Another great thing where you discover a lot of great ideas is by traveling. When you go out, discover new people, discover new pain points, because when you travel, when you go out of your limited area of observation, you will start finding there are a lot of other things that people go through, right? And there are, a lot of new, what we in our product domain call it as use cases, right? So there are a lot of use cases, a lot of pain points, a lot of different workflows that happen around us, that probably we are untouched by them, but a lot of people go through them, and that can be solved by technology. And you'll also develop new perspective, why certain things work and certain things don't work when you observe people using what they are using right now. So when you go out and see people use the way they use email, or the way they use WhatsApp, and a lot of other apps, you will learn a lot about how, what actually can work and what will not work, right? So uh, essentially you have to go out of the building, so mm, there is a saying that I say a lot, is that if you're not even going out of the building, how will you reach their heart, right? So that's critical, that you go out of the building, travel, watch, observe people, observe their pain points, observe how they use how they interact with technology, how they use technology, and that would help you unlearn a lot of things, learn a lot of things. And that is critical for getting great ideas, right? Again, you have to, when you're doing all of these, you have to observe what are the things that are missing today, right, which are not there today. Another great approach is to look at what is happening today, and then, because this is happening, what will be missing in future, right? So if the way smartphones are progressing, what will, what are the things that will probably just go uh, out of business, or something that will cease to exist. Also, if you can find what's replacing what. So mobile phone actually, for example, mobile phones replaced radio, and mobile phones replaced TV, and mobile phones replaced camera, right? So they, mobile phone actually replaced, its mobile phone is a phone. It's an extension or a new version of a landline phone. So it was supposed to replace landline, right? But it has actually ended up replacing three very large businesses altogether, right? So mobile has actually replaced the entire, or affected the entire camera industry very severely. It has, the photo film industry. It has impacted, uh, a lot of supply chain that also goes with this entire industry, right? Um, so yeah, it affects a lot of things. So what else is it affecting today, right? The advent of, or the popularity of internet, and now that the data rates are going down by the day. What is getting replaced, right? If you can figure that out, then you will again find a lot of good ideas. Again, most important, and the last slide about finding good ideas is to do something, right? It's not about only sitting on your butt thinking about things. You go off the building, do something, try any activity, try talking to people, and that is when you would be able to get great ideas there. Cool. So now that we've talked about these things, and you may feel that these are a little abstract, I would bring it more closer to things. Again, would be a little abstract, but I'll bring it closer to what you are still what you are focused on, which is your product, right? So I want you to look at product, uh, and let me make it a little interactive. I'll stop sharing, and why don't we talk about what is a product? Why don't you put your ideas on chat? What do you think is a product?
Anyone from the participants would like to answer this?
You are asking what is a product or what is my product?
What is a product?
Okay. What is a product? So I would say something that is solving the user's problem or a need through especially the technology, usage of technology.
Great, good answer. Any other answers?
Anything that makes a user's life easier.
Okay. Any other thing?
A bunch of features put together.
Okay.
In terms of technology, though, I think it is more a software that can be implemented at various industries or companies, and the same thing can be used across rather than customized for something.
Okay. Right. Any other answers, guys? There are a lot of people here. I'd love to hear from everyone. What is a product? And I believe you are running a startup. You should be able to answer this, right?
I would like to add something that anything is resulting in something out by action or reaction or process, that is product.
Yes.
And anything that makes the work more efficient uh, than how people used to do it before. It saves times and increase their productivity. uh, can be called as a product, and of course which is
So it
scalable,
essentially solves some problem, right?
which have a viable commercialization, like which can be commercialized also.
Great.
That
Yeah.
I think anything which solves the problem, but uh, through that thing we can also do the sort of branding and we can do the commercial activity. I think if that can be called as a product, a pack of all the
Yep.
things.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. Yeah. So essentially, great. I mean, I think, a lot of good answers here. Essentially, when we talk about product, uh, we always sort of look at products in terms of solutions or something that would make someone's life easy, something that would, one second, something that would, create value for the user and for us. Right. So, and it could be commercial, as in it can generate money, or it can generate some other sort of value, right? So a lot of product, very famous and very huge popular product may not make direct money, but yeah, they generate a lot of value for that business, right, in some other way. So yeah, you're right. I mean, all of you are right that 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 product is a solution, and it should help generate some sort of value for us and for the user, right? So yeah, that's correct. I'll just start sharing my screen again. So this is where like you talked about, that it's a solution, right, that it solves a problem. So these are the problems, so there is, let's say there is a set of problems that user has, and of course your product would be solving some of these problems. One second. Sometimes though, people may not, there are products which are not really solution to any problem, right? They are things that user may not have a real problem, but they just need it, or they may just want something which they do not even need, right? So look at it from this perspective. So there are users needs, right? So there is a set of needs. There is another set which intersects with the needs thing, which is the users wants. So in the intersection, there are things which are both needs and wants, right? So needs are like, you need to eat healthy, you need to go to the gym, you need to exercise. You may not want to exercise, you may not want to go to the gym, right? You may not want to eat healthy food, right? And then there are things which user wants, things that they not really need, like an expensive car, or an expensive watch, right? But they want it, right? And then there are problems associated with each of these categories, right? So problems associated with what things that user needs but may not want, problems associated things that user want but may not need, and problems associated with things that user both wants and needs, right? And in the next slide, we see that this is where you would want your product to be, right? So your product needs to be solving a real problem that stems from their need, want, or both, right? So they may need that solution, they may want that solution, but there has to be a problem associated with it, and then only you would be able to see a sustainable, valuable, solution that can bring value to both the users and to you, right? If for example, if you are if you are looking at users, if you're looking at needs only, or if you're solving only for their needs, then you'll have to do a lot of marketing and have a lot of patience, right? So people need good quality air, not just in Delhi, but in a lot of other parts of India as well, right? They need good quality air, but that is their need. Unless they start developing respiratory problems en masse, right? Like where the entire public starts developing respiratory issues, people will not, start buying air purifiers. But that air purifiers will be like water filters. So water filters 10 years, about 15 years back, hardly, like very few households will have, there was only one brand, or like very few brands, like Aquaguard was the only popular brand, and then thereon came Kent, and then thereon came a lot of other brands that started marketing about water purifiers. And today it is a, it's a essential thing. In every household you will see a water purifier, or people subscribing, people have started subscribing to water purifiers, in Bangalore and a lot of other cities. People don't buy water purifiers, they subscribe to it. So which means they rent a water purifier, and the water that comes out of it is metered, right? So based on like, okay, month you have a quota of 260 liters. If you run out of the quota, the machine stops giving water, then you have to top up, just like your mobile phone, right? So those kind of models have come up, and you will see that in the next 4 years same will be the case with air purifiers also, right? So that the marketing has already started, but yeah, large companies, big budgets, that's what you need, right? People, things start moving from being needs to being problems, right? Then there are other value add things that have limited marginal value, and you'd not want it to create something which has very limited life, right? Or a very sporadic demand, right? So something fashionable might be very trendy, something very useful today, but may not be useful tomorrow if it does not cater to a user problem, right? And again, same is the case with wants. You'd not want to create cater to only wants which does not really solve a big user problem, because again, you need a lot of customization or a lot of marketing money in order to sell something like that, right? Products exist in all of these domains. All of these are real products and real businesses, but for our discussion we will focus only on these things, right? Cool. So now we talk about, if you have ideas, if you have certain problems, how do you think about those problems? How do you categorize those problems, right? So yeah, slides a little mixed up, but yeah, so we will try and understand the problems. How do you find out what kind of problems um, uh, are you trying to solve, right? So there are these 4 categories. I mean, typically there are latent problems which your even your customers do not know about, right? So for example, about 60-70 years back, nobody in the world knew that you need to brush your teeth twice a day. That's real. I mean, right now it may sound a little weird, but yeah, you did not, I mean, people did not know that they need to brush their teeth twice a day. It became popular right now as a practice, which as it feels like we have been doing it since ever. But yeah, this is only due to advertising and marketing in last 50-60 years that it has become so popular now, right? And I talked about air purifier kind of thing, which you may so these are latent problems, like lot of social problems, lot of climate change related problems, health problems. They are, and if you're solving for them, then please know and understand that you're solving a latent problem. Customer may not know about that they have this problem at all. So you have to first educate them, and then uh, convince them, and then sell it to them, right? So your approach has to change, right? Then there are passive problems, right? So customer may know that they have a problem, but they may not be doing anything actively, right? For example, the product that lie in this category is typically insurance, cybersecurity products, antivirus, right? Inbox zero, a lot of productivity related issues. So people may see things as a productivity hog, but may not be solving for it. May not be solving for it, right? So that is, those kind of things. If you are, building that kind of product, then you'll have to, again, first you have to understand that what kind, like, is that a passive problem that people do they even know about it? If they're not doing anything about it, then is that big enough for them? Then how do you approach, how do you tell them about this problem? How do you make them purchase the product, right? So the one thing that works great with passive problems is that you can bundle it with something else, right? Which something else that is in trend or something that people are frequently using, right? So if you bundle it with that, then people might get used to using that product or that feature also, right? Then there are active problems, right? So people know the problem and then they're actively looking for a solution, right? It is not a burning issue, right? But people still are you know uh, are aware and they are happy to entertain so, but they will still take a lot of time in taking a decision, right? They will take care of they will compare multiple products. They will look at which is the most economical solution and all of that, right? And for those solutions is where you can typical ed tech kind of products or auditing tools or bookkeeping for an SMB. These are the typical products where there are problems and I'm trying to do something about it, but I'm not really sure. It's not a burning thing. I am probably able to make work around that problem, right? So active follow-ups, retargeting ads, discounts, something more value add, those kind of offers, those kind of things will definitely help you sell if you're solving for an active problem. And then there is an urgent problem where typically users butt is on fire, and you know they are out there with money in their hand. You just need to be there to take that money and give them the solution. So if you are solving for that kind of thing, typically there would be a lot of competition because those kind of problems are being solved left, right, and center by a lot of people, right? So they are not like unknown issues that there are not. You would not find a lot of urgent problems being solved by only one person, right? Typically they're hyper competitive spaces. So distribution is the key. You have to be there when the person needs it and you will get the sale, right? So this is how you need to look at the look at the problems. So very importantly, just to summarize that, one, that our product lies in the entire problem solution interface. First thing that you have to understand is the product is one small solution out of the possible solutions, out of the possible problems, out of the possible needs and wants of the user, right? So understanding what exactly is where we stand in this space is critical, right? And second important thing is that what is the category of problem that we are trying to solve. Once you understand that, you would be able to approach the the product, making the product and doing the doing the go to market for it in a much better way. So these are the most important key principles. And before I go ahead and talk about other things, I need you to ask me any questions that you have relevant to this. In fact, I'll stop sharing and wait for a couple of questions to come before I go ahead.
Anyone from the participants would like to take this on?
Hi, Ujjwal. This is Nalapandi from Bistrino Solutions.
Hi.
So my question is like, so mostly we were into an active problem solvers, okay, digitizing the entire quality management system into digital. As per my the market research and discussing with customers, so I don't see this as an urgent problem that has to be solved. So, hello?
Yes.
It is not an urgent problem that companies are solving. So it is a kind of an active problem which companies know the problem, company know how much they are losing. So for that kind of businesses, what is the marketing strategy that we have to use to make the customers aware about the problem and making them know about our solution?
You said that it is not urgent problem, and you also said that it is an active problem. How do you know it is an active problem?
Because the companies, whoever certifies with any kind of ISO certification, so the company have to follow certain activities to maintain the standards.
Correct.
Requirements. So, which is a kind of a common thing, starting from an MSME to an MNC.
Yes.
But they don't see or explore the opportunity to digitize it.
Why should they? What is the problem in the current process?
Because the involvement of paper, the complete process is paper based. So, when we involve a paper in a process, then there will be subsequent issues like involvement of Excel to aggregate the data, work on Excel to come out with the statistics and reporting them in the present PPT format, and follow up with the employees to know the status about. So everything comes into picture when we engage the paper in the work. So which makes the companies to go for 50% of productivity loss.
50. Okay, that's a scary figure. I'm not sure, but I'll not debate that right now. But see, important point is that if you can, even if it was not 50 and it was 15, right? Even if you go to the companies and tell them that you will be able to save 15% of their employees' time, every month, that would be huge. I mean, that should be huge. I don't think you need anything other than that. So if people are wasting so much time in doing paper, but see what you are saying, that has to be true for all employees. It can't be true for 2 employees, right? That okay, I have employed 2 people, and for them 50% time is being wasted. People won't care about it because they'll say, okay, don't like I'm not worried because I've employed them only for this purpose. So they are taking care of ISO and other things. I don't want to digitize it or whatever, right? But if it is wasting everyone's time, even if it is 10%, right? That's huge. If you translate it into the rupee value of it or dollar value of it, and you tell that to the client that you are potentially wasting this much money every month because productive time is going into doing these things, then I'm sure you will get their attention. And then if you're solving it really elegantly without a lot of inertia or a lot of setup requirement, then I'm sure that people will find it interesting. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it is okay. Pretty much kind of good information. Still, I'm looking for an suggestion how to approach the companies and explain them about this. What are the kind of channels that you recommend, like LinkedIn or some forums?
Yeah, all these forums, there are events, there are all these channels, and if you are a B2B product, you should also definitely explore listing on channels like G2 and Capterra and Gartner. So write to them, tell them about the product that you are that you have created, in what category does it lie, and what are the good parts, what is better in the product, as compared to the other competitive product, and they would definitely list you, and that would be a great channel for you for acquisition as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Any other person wants to do it? Yeah. Is there someone else who wants to discuss their idea, or if they have understood this thing well, whether their product lies in which category, what kind of problem are they solving?
I guess they are pretty much sorted for this. No reactions from them, so can move forward.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So see, I can move forward and I can present all the 20 more slides that I have, but I think the real value actually comes out from you
Interaction.
interacting, right? You telling what did you understand, what did you not understand, what makes sense to you, what did not. Then only you would be able to internalize these things and understand more about them. Cool. So this is typically what a lot of us end up doing as techies, or as people who have a lot of who love fall in love with their ideas, right? This is what people do. Are you able to see my screen? Do you understand what this is? Can you put it on chat? What do you see? Nike, yes. Okay. Yes, Deepti, that is correct. Just do it. Correct. No, it's not that people do not do it. It's that people directly jump into doing stuff, right? That is the problem, that people just jump onto doing stuff. And I'll tell you why. It's very natural, right? This is the natural way, right? What happens is we think of ideas, typically solutions. We think of a solution, we jump onto creating a solution, and then we think about, okay, what is the problem that it solves, right? And then and believe me, I know this for sure because I've seen like tens of startups doing this way. And in fact, I've been part of companies and I've been part of product teams which do it this way, right? So there is no shame in me accepting that I've also done it this done I used to do things like this long back, right? That we think of an idea, we think of a solution, and then we think of, okay, what problem does it solve? And then we think about, okay, who will have this problem, right? And who will be the customer of this? So people go solution first, and then create a think about, okay, what problem are we solving, and then whose problem are we solving, and similarly then approach the customers. Unfortunately, this is the wrong way, right? um, to approach something, right? The first thing that you have to do when you've got a idea is first look at the customer. Who has got this problem, who exactly are you targeting, who is going to be the customer? Is it going to be the businesses? If businesses, is it going to be the small business or the large business? If it is large business, it is enterprise level business or medium to large businesses, right? If it is enterprise, then where do they exist? Are they existing in India? Are they existing in all over the world? Typically, I very you know uh, when we are very mature with the idea, it looks like, oh, this will be everyone's problem, everyone will have such a problem, right? But as one of our participants was talking about, that he is solving a productivity issue which is like, okay, 50% of your productivity goes into solving some problem, and he has a solution for it. But he is struggling to find out where will he find the customers, right? So that is the real deal. That is happening everywhere in every business. First, you have to think about who exactly is the customer, right? And everyone is always the wrong answer, right? So who exactly is the customer? If it is a consumer, or if it is the end consumer, then what end consumer, what age group, what are they doing? What kind of other products are they using? How would they discover this? Why would they use or choose your solution over the other workarounds that are available, right? So these are the first things that you first think about, right? So first think about X, which is the customers, then think about what is the exact, now that you've finalized, okay, this is my customer, now formalize what exact problem are you solving for them, right? And then I'm sorry, then you would know that uh, that the idea, okay, So then you would know that X has Y problem, and then I will solve it by using Z. So then comes your solution. So solution, while in the first or natural approach, we went solution first, here the solution comes in the end. The first thing that we have to think about is what is the, what is the customer that we are targeting, what is their exact problem, and then think about the solution, or then you tweak your idea to create a very relevant solution for them, right? If you follow this, or if you approach your products like this, then I'm sure you would know who the exact customer is, you would know what is their problem, you would know, what, how would you how would you sell sell the product to them, because you've already gone to them, right? How would you know that they have this problem? You can't imagine this, right? Once you identify the customer, you'll have to go actually and ask these people, meet these people in person, virtually, or however you can, and then understand that what their real problems are, what are their current workarounds, what are their, what are the solutions, what kind of constraints that, that they have, right? You might create a solution that is that definitely solves their problem, but uh, they are not in a position to afford that solution. And then again, it goes, your entire uh, you know product goes obsolete, right? So so only when you go follow this approach, you figure out the customer, you figure out the real problem that they're facing, and develop the solution with them, with uh, their understanding or their contribution, then you'd not be in a state where you'd not know how do I, now that I have a solution, how do I go about selling this to people, right? You'd never be in this situation. It will only be about when can you be ready with the entire thing, and what, at what price point can you work out the solution for them, right? So so that is the right way to deal with problems and solutions. Now, are there any questions? Do you think you have followed this process, not followed it? Do you think you will be able to follow it from now? Are there things that you feel you'd not be able to do? It sounds too fantastic, it sounds great, but how would I actually do it? Are there questions around that?
Yeah, so I'm Ratan, I'm from NCAM, and I do have this feeling that the idea is great. There's a lot of requirement, a lot of need that you can see. Probably it's a latent need, like you explained. So we have to do a lot of education to sell our product, and we don't know how to go about it, very frankly.
Great, thank you for sharing it. Now, so you said that it is a latent need. Who is your customer segment?
So it's in climate change. So our target customer could be online travel agencies. It could be government institutions. It could be logistics company, transport. Yeah. So those will be the primary targets at this moment. But then if you see on a like those could be the beachhead market, right? Even individuals for that sake, right?
Mhm.
But as we go further into, as we expand into the geographic, like the market, target market, it could be like it's massive, right? But we want to start with individuals and travel and transport and logistics company first, and government if they would want to participate. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, slowly, I mean, you've sort of listed everyone. So when you
Correct.
individuals, what kind of individuals? Like working professionals,
Yeah.
farmers?
Yeah, basically in case of individuals, currently we are targeting travelers who who make basically who plan their travel itinerary online. So those will be our target market in the beachhead. Like those are the beachhead market for us.
Okay. So you're saying travelers who book or plan their travel itinerary online, and how do you help them? What is
so
the
we-
problem you're solving for them?
Sorry.
What is the problem that they have?
Actually, in the sense that it's a latent problem, so they don't really realize it's a problem. But while we travel, there's a lot of environmental footprint that it has, right? And we basically help measure the impact and reduce or mitigate it. So that's what we are providing. So it's not something that the customer is really complaining about, but obviously when they come out of the AC rooms and feel the heat in Delhi, they do feel that there's something going wrong.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is that they don't really have this problem. Is that correct?
Yeah, essentially what I'm saying is they don't really care about it.
Yeah, but that's because they don't really have that problem. This is, definitely a problem for the government,
No, I
right?
think they have a problem. See, they have a problem because when you come out of your AC room and walk in the sun, when it's hot, everyone realizes that global warming is a problem, but they don't care about it. So they're facing that problem. Breathing is a problem, but
Mhm.
so they are definitely facing the problem, right? But they don't care about the problem. So they have to be educated. Latent demand, like you say.
Right, right. Right. No, but right now, I mean, right now it is not something that they feel is their problem, right? You're not
Correct.
solving whatever solution you would give is not solving for them
Right.
immediately, right? It
Right.
would solve for someone else,
Correct.
right? So who is that? Who is that someone else?
It could be those corporates, na? Like the OTA companies, TNA, the travel, so for example, like imagine Amex, for example, right? So it could be companies like Amex who want to go, who want to reduce their carbon emissions. It could be, like say, for example, Yatra or Make My Trip at a later
Who?
stage.
Mhm. So, and what is their problem? What problem, can they solve by using your solution?
Yeah, so basically they could go, they could achieve the net zero emissions.
That's the outcome, but what is the problem that they are facing?
What they're facing is, they have a problem in, measurement, right? They don't, they, it's hard to measure the impact, right? It's very vague. So it's hard to measure. It's also hard to take,
But do they want to measure? They
they
probably,
don't.
but do they want to measure?
Yeah, they as at the moment they don't want to, but as we go ahead and as we see the consciousness amongst the consumer base increasing, as you see tightening of ESG policies around the country or around the globe, right, and around nations also coming up with a lot of things. So they've definitely they would have to align themselves along those lines. Maybe not exactly today probably, but yeah, it's
No
already
good,
started.
no good point. I think what you're saying is that it's a future problem, probably solving for the future, right?
Correct.
You'll have to have, of course, you'll have to have a very uh, long and very important, like very clearly chalked out plan for how would you educate people about this. You will have to also figure out what can give them some instant benefit, whether it is some sort of benefit that comes from the consumers, or whether, so if you're selling to businesses, that is, or if you are giving them some benefit that can come from the government. So that's what you'll have to figure out, that there has to be something that will come to them instantly, and then in the days to come, how will they be able to make or bring more value from it. And of course, there is this legal thing that once it becomes a mandate, then they'll have to use it anyway. But until that time, you'd have to figure out a way in which they start using it without, without much fuss, right? So what is it that, how can you bring it, make it so easy for them to start using it? How can you solve some of their, problem? It could be related to branding, right? So what can give them a branding boost? So I was checking Make My Trip. I think they have started writing the carbon emission against every flight. So every flight that you take, it tells you which one is taking more, which one is using more carbon, which one is using less carbon, right?
Right.
So,
Exactly. So that's what that shows that the market is already kind of it's not actually just into the future also. Probably it's already there.
yeah, it is shaping up for sure.
Mm.
So talk to Make My Trip. Why? What was their motivation to do that? That's what you have to, that's what you'll have to figure out, and then maybe similarly you could be able to target other companies and figure out what is the what is the motivation, or how can you talk to that motivation that right now looks latent, right?
Mm.
There is something that motivated Make My Trip to implement such a thing, right? What is that? So you have to figure that out, and then work based on that.
Right. So what would you suggest? How to go about figuring that out? What, cold mailers or LinkedIn? How do you go about it? Or
Yeah, and cold email, talk to anyone and everyone who you can, how you can reach out to people at Make My Trip,
Mhm.
and talk to people, try to figure out why did they implement that feature. Whoever else is doing it, right?
Mhm.
Whoever else is concerned about that, talk to them, right? Unless you talk to them, there is no, you won't be able to go ahead.
Okay. Right. Okay. Thank you.
And why, like cold email plus LinkedIn plus Twitter, like there is no one way you will get through, one general way to get to everyone, right? So for some people one thing works, for another person another thing works. Don't sell anything to them, right now you don't have anything to sell. Right now just figure out, like just write to them like one liner that, okay, I saw this feature, I want to understand why are you using this feature, or why did you implement this feature. That shouldn't be hard to figure out,
Right.
right? So yeah, that's the approach.
Okay. Just one last question. Let's take Make My Trip as an example. Who would you target? Like ideally, the operations or the
People in product, people in sales.
product and sales. Okay. All right. Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think very pertinent question, and I hope you got some direction on that.
Yeah. Thank
Right.
you. Yeah.
That no mentor. I don't have all the answers. No mentor will have it. Typically, we can only tell you what is the right approach. To find your answers. Right. If I had all the answers, I would probably own all the businesses that you are doing, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, lot of
We'll definitely update you. This we'll just try this thing and update you. Yeah.
sure, definitely. I'll see if I can find someone at Make My Trip and to answer that question. So keep in touch on LinkedIn, and I'll see if I can answer.
Absolutely. Thank you
Sure.
so much. Yeah.
Cool. So after problems, you have to also, if you have a solution, you should try and understand whether customers like it or they love it, right? So make sure that people are loving your solution and not just liking, right? So do whatever you have to do to understand this, and that is how you would, learn more about the consumers, about the product, and that's how you'll be able to, create quality products, right? So just to summarize, we talked about how you can find ideas, how you can sorry, just yeah, so how you can find great ideas, how you can you know how to look at the ideas, how to look at the problems, where do they lie in the needs, wants, problems, framework. Where is your idea lying, what category of problem are you trying to solve, and then how do you how do you approach that problem. So these are a few things that we talked about today, and yeah, in the limited time that we have, I think that was the only sort of discussion that we could have. Thank you so much, everyone, for your questions, and a lot of you actually asked great questions. Thank you for that. And some of you didn't. Please ensure in any other such session that you go to, come up with a lot of questions. Otherwise, I'm not too sure, if you've invested your time in the right place, right? So with that, I'm sort of done.
Thank you so much, Ujjwal, to heading us towards this session and giving us tools and techniques to give a thought process to find a problem and scout the actual segments. So thank you so much for such an informative session.
All right, guys, all the best, and feel free to connect on LinkedIn, ask specific questions if you have around these things.
Thanks, Ujjwal.